It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington Show.
Welcome one and all, it's time yet again for the Andy and Rem Show. Episode 135, Bring Back Halflings, and don't forget that hashtag. So, as beautiful as this thumbnail is, way better than the last time I used this identical picture with our faces on. I think our actual faces are reversed compared to that one, which you would have spotted in the intro if you're particularly eagle-eyed. And let's get rid of this picture so you can see that Remington is messing with his blinds again. Weren't you doing that last week?
Yeah, I just an OCD thing now.
It's not so crazy that you have to deal with it before the show, though. It's only when we're actually on the air you get the urge.
Okay, I'll be playing with that as we go, but welcome everybody to the greatest Age of Sigmar show ever. Probably the first Age of Sigmar ever, and still the greatest, if not the most popular.
Certainly the most popular of all time.
Exactly. What do you want? Do you want cordon bleu or do you want McDonald's?
Interesting question posed there. Anyway,
How are you, Andy?
folks,
Anyway, you good?
I'm radiant, and I'm itching to talk about these halflings. How about you?
Wow, okay. I love halflings. I don't know why I got into halflings. I don't know. They're kind of comedy a bit. I think it's the comedy aspect of it.
Well, obviously, halflings have been a little bit neglected in recent years. If you look here on the screen in front of you, then you'll see the Halfling Blood Bowl team, of course. So they've had a little bit of GW love recently, but not enough, frankly. And other companies are going to leave GW in the Halfling furry-footed dust if they're not careful. They need to shape up and ship out some brand new Halfling goodness for the masses.
Definitely, man.
And we're going to get into why shortly.
Okay. Will it ever happen?
Surely it must. So if anyone's got any ideas for how and why halflings should return, then drop them in the chat and we'll refer to them when we reach that point in the show. But we've got plenty of other juicy, red hot sizzling segments for you tonight. So the saliva isn't already forming in your mouth, then let me give you this little taster. We've got not only several, yes, I said it, several news segments. We've also got What the Hell Is That? And WitchCoven.
What's WitchCoven, Andy?
Well, that is the current #1 top rated interactive role-playing game on the internet.
Wow, and who's it starring?
It stars Andy the Ungor, in fact.
And who's the narrator?
Well, I'm pretty sure that Remington plays the part of some kind of otherworldly puppet master, pulling the strings of the playing pieces below on the chessboard with puppets on it.
Do get a kick out of that, Andy, especially when you are the puppet. Yes, WitchCoven is our adventure fantasy. I'm not going to say board game. It's scenario-based game, and it's amazing. Starring Andy as an Ungor.
It's got a lot to live up to with the way the Forest of Rem became such an epic, spiralling adventure. But I think it's going alright so far. Got to give Mr. Remington a bit of credit. Stepping up. Okay.
And we've got a couple of new guys in the chat. Titus Painting Studio. Wow, that sounds very professional. Are we getting a new class of subscribers to our channel? I like it, man.
Yeah, everyone should change their name to something that sounds really profound and professional, shouldn't they?
Yeah, we've got Interested G, who's been waiting for 6 hours for this show to start.
That's some commitment there. Now, we've got you on a bit of a high so far, Mr. Remington, with some praise for WitchCoven and some new audience members in there. So, is it time to bring you crashing back down to earth? Because,
What do you mean, Andy?
well, Games Workshop, stock price.
Oh, God.
What is going on with this? So, it looks like that doesn't look healthy. Now, I'm no stock analyst expert, but when I see the line going down like that, and it's all red, it kind of sets off alarm bells. And then I see, wait a minute, 52.67%. That seems like a little bit lower than we had a couple of weeks ago. Do you want to talk us through this?
Well, I had 10 Games Workshop shares, and last week it hit an all-time high of £119 per share. Now, I bought my shares on average at about £60 a share. So I was almost 100% up. I was 94% up, and I thought, should I sell? No, I made a promise to the people on this show that I would hold it for a year or more. And besides, I wanted to get it to 100% just to show off. And wouldn't you know it, something happened. Something happened on the way to heaven, sang Phil Collins. But this song went the other way, and so did the shares. BlackRock investment firm, which are a huge Titanic mammoth investment company, decided to cash out on 5% of Games Workshop entire shares that they owned. And this was after the COVID, um, what's it called? Cure. Vaccine was announced by Pfizer. And basically, I think they thought that Games Workshop was a stay-at-home stock, and its time in the limelight was ended, and they should invest in more different stocks like shops and banks and things like that, boring things. Anyway, Games Workshop released a trading update, which sounded very, very positive. I've decided to hang on to my shares. In fact, Andy, if you just go back to your former slide, you'll see something else.
And what's that?
I bought more shares.
What?
I bought 0.64 more shares.
So you're thinking this is the lowest they're going to go, so you're dipping your toe even further in?
Well, I thought, why buy when it's on a high, right? Buy when it's on a low. So I've averaged up, and that's going to affect my percentage, but it means I've got now more shares that I've bought cheaper.
So you're trying to spin this negative situation, which is the stock price tumbling down and toppling Remington Towers. You're trying to turn that into a positive by snapping up some of that cut price bargain basement shares, and then when it soars back up again, you'll be in an even stronger position.
You see, your initial reaction when you saw the share chart, Andy, was a true amateur reaction. It was shock, horror. Oh no, it's going wrong. Quick, sell your shares. And that's what the amateurs do that lose a lot of money. But the professional, seasons, entrepreneurial investors like myself see it as an opportunity. So let's see what happens.
You remained calm, you centered yourself, you analysed the situation carefully.
Anything could happen. I think it's an easy 20% upside from here. That's what I'm thinking, because Games Workshop done nothing wrong. In fact, if you read the next statement, this was released over a week.
I'm going to have a quick read of this. So,
yes, do.
The group announces today that trading since the last update in September 2020 is ahead of the board's expectations. Given this, the board's estimate of the results for the 6 months to 29th November 2020 is profit before tax of not less than £80 million. 2019, £58.6 million. This has been driven by healthy growth in our online and trade channels. Our retail channel is still recovering from the COVID-19 closures, both currently 170 stores as well as earlier in 2020. Factory warehouses are still in operation under COVID-secure measures. The board recognises that this performance is better than the prior year, but is also aware that it is still early in the financial year. A further update will be given as appropriate. Would you like to translate that into peasant speak, Mr. Remington?
So, in the last 6 months, during COVID, a 100-year pandemic, when shops have been closed and most places have been suffering financially, okay, Games Workshop made 22% more in this last 6 months than in the same 6 months last year. Well, that's phenomenal. They had 22% growth.
Well, there you
Right.
go. It's nothing to do with
Okay.
Games Workshop themselves. The volatility of their stock at the moment. It's purely outside influences that will eventually kind of level out, you're thinking.
Definitely. That's just a big time investor cashing in and putting their money somewhere else, and they don't really understand the company.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Why would they?
well, let's jump on to something else then. So, Warhammer Age of Sigmar, and looking a bit gift wrapped there, we've got new
Ooh.
battle forces. Going to hit the shelves just in time, or hit the stockings perhaps, if anyone's lucky enough for Santa to bring them something this expensive. So we've got.
Andy, I always look at these and think this is a great deal. You should buy them, and then I don't, and it's like, oh man. Probably because I've got some of the miniatures already.
Well, let's have a look
But
and see if you want to buy any of these.
these don't stick around forever. These things sort of. That's wow. Look at that, an entire Tzeentch army.
Indeed,
That's
it is.
sick. You get all of that.
You certainly do.
Wow. That's tempting. So you get the Silver Tower miniatures, you get the guys on the discs. Alright, let me just do some head calculations here. I'm gonna think that's £150.
Well, do I have the prices anywhere? Let's see.
I might be
My
lowballing that.
notes. I don't think I actually have the prices on here, so maybe that hasn't been unleashed to the world yet. But if anyone knows the price, then let us know.
I'm tempted with that, Andy, because I sold all my Tzeentch miniatures, so
Well, Remington's tempted, but that's only the first one. What about Aerodron Overlords? Don't seem to get as much in there. Obviously, the models are bigger, but that just looks like a vast, sprawling horde. That looks like
yeah.
ships.
Andy, is that all 3 different types of ships, or are they 2
No, the big ship is not in there.
Right.
It's the 2 smallest and the medium.
Is the big ship sort of like too big to have it on a battle? Is it like 800 points or something?
No, it's not ridiculous like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have thought that could have been in there if they'd really wanted it to be.
It looks like a fun box, though. Yeah, scroll down. What else do you get? You get the 3 ships.
You get 6 of these guys, and you get Mr. Mustache Cannon.
Well, yeah, and
it's
I
all
suppose
right.
You'd need some foot soldiers, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would think a battle force should be something that you can buy and then immediately put on the table, and it looks kind of like a balanced army. This certainly fits the bill, I think, because you've got some characters, you've got some big stuff, and then you've got a load of troops as well. Whereas this, I'm not so sure that one stacks up.
Well, there could be a big price difference there. It could be cheaper.
I doubt it,
Maybe.
but we'll see. Then we've got Ogres. So in this one, you get the smelly old Aelgers Gargants that no one wants anymore because it's too tiny. And you get all these ogres.
Having just sold my ogre army, this is a great way of just getting it all back, apart from the man-eaters. Right? You've got Iron Guts there. You got 4 Iron Guts. You've got 4 guys with the hand cannon things. How many basic ones you got there? 3, 6, 9.
You've got
10,
quite a few ogres there.
Is that 12? That's a weird number. 3, oh yeah, because they come in. Yeah, because they come in 6s when you buy them. Okay. So let's just do a head count. 40. That's going to be about 175. 180 if you bought them all separately. So
I think it'll be a bit cheaper than that.
yeah, I think that's decent, man.
That one looks alright if you're into your ogres. Then we've got now Fungal Loon Horde. I really like this one actually.
Love it.
Because these are all kind of newish models, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean,
The
actually,
new style of trolls and the big troll and the new
yeah.
style of squigs.
Well, the getting started Gloomspite bits box set. That's all got miniatures that I need. It's got the 3 trolls, the loon captain guy on the moon, and 10. My mind's gone bloody blank. My mind. What are the orange things called?
Squigs?
Squigs. Yes, 10 squig herds. And yeah, I need all those. I've got the old squigs, you see, but I've already got 10 squig hoppers. For this one, you get 20 squig hoppers. No, surely not.
It looks like, is it about 15 you get there?
Why is that? That's a weird number.
That 50?
Yeah. Okay, so it must be
Yeah.
3 spruts rather than 4. But then I need that one that's on the big squig.
Yeah, that's the special one at the front there with the extra long pointy tongue for stabbing.
Yep, and it's got the troll. So I mean, it's got the big troll. If I bought them, I would have a massive Gloomspite Gits army.
Yeah, when I was looking through these earlier, I thought this one's got Remington written all over it because you don't have any of these new trolls, do you?
No, I've got 6 Fellwater Troggoths.
Yeah, I was thinking that might be something you'd like to sink your painting fangs into, those new trolls.
Yeah, I could pretty much field a troll army then, because I'd have 12 I'd have 12 trolls. I'd have a Troggoth. Yeah, well, that's probably it, isn't it? That's probably it. That's the whole army right there. I'm tempted, mate. Tempted. I enjoy painting those as well.
So you're tempted by this and you're moving away from the Zench one.
Oh,
I'd look at it this way. If you bought the Zench one, would you have enough for a full army in there that you'd be alright putting out on the table? Whereas if you went for this one, you've already got a decent sized army. You'd be adding to it. So there's potential for it to actually get used on the table, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but it'd be like I'd have a 3,500 point army.
But they're pretty cool. That'd be my take on it anyway. If I was going to get one, then it'd be the grand relaunch of my Caradron Overlords army. Because I don't have any.
Have you got any of these though, Andy?
I don't have any of these models already. I did own most of them at one point, but sold them before they were painted, though. So I don't have to go through the pain of painting things twice. So if I was going to go for anything, that'd be a decent one for me if I was thinking of relaunching that army at some point in the near future.
When I had a Savage Orc army, I did want to have a game against your Caradron Overlords. It'd be quite funny. It'd be like, guys with like primitive spears and crappy bows and arrows against guys in spaceships and harpoon guns.
That is true.
I think it'd be a massacre.
So anyway, interesting. So we've got plenty of people in the chat now. So hello to everyone in there. Who have we got in there? We've got the likes of Stu, Mickey, Brad. We've got Batzuka. We've got Void, Captain Bazooka. We've got William, Graham, of course. So a bit of a packed house in there at the moment. Next, so Blood Bowl. Not only is the new Blood Bowl tabletop game coming out, but Blood Bowl 3 is coming next year. And there is a trailer which we're not going to watch because I don't want the video to get taken down.
What's Blood Bowl 3? The video game?
Yes, on Steam.
Okay.
So, look at these very shiny graphics that they've got going on here. Now, I never took the plunge into Blood Bowl 2 on Steam, but I have played a reasonable amount of Blood Bowl 1 on there. And it's quite a tasty game, but look at this. I would assume that Blood Bowl 3 is going to match up with the new rules for the latest edition that's coming out.
That's really cool, man.
Very nice.
That's really cool. I could get into that.
So
I'm tempted with this as well, Andy. The box set here.
Are you?
If you get that on pre-order, you get 2 dugouts for free. 2 Christmas-themed dugouts, apparently. Yeah, because I was toying with the idea of the Empire team and converting them into Empire soldiers. Kind of like a Manon's Blades kind of vibe.
Just think, if you'd sold your stock sold your GW shares a
Yeah.
couple of weeks ago when it was at the all-time high, you could
Yeah.
have bought all these things we've just been talking about and barely felt the pinch.
I could literally buy everything you've shown. Wow. God, that sounds so poncy. But it's true.
But no.
But what would I want with all that stuff? It would take me bloody years to paint all that.
Yeah, but you never stop painting. You're like a painting
No.
monster.
I'm still painting this loon shrine. There's the mushrooms on the shrine alone. There's like flipping like 60. Can I show you?
But at least he's wearing trousers, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, let me just flip the screen so you can. Yeah, I painted two sets of.
It is looking quite beastly.
Looking pretty cool, right? It's really fun to paint.
Oh, by the way, bad news. Batzuka informs us that the dugouts are already sold out.
You need those dugouts though. Can you just like draw it on a piece of paper?
But that was your selling point for jumping on board, was the dugouts, and now they're gone.
Are you sure? Maybe they're just gone in like America or something.
I think they're just gone in general. You know what they're like.
Oh. Thing is though, they've got all these new releases, but all the shops in England are closed until the 2nd of December at least. So they must be. I mean, the online stuff must be going crazy, right?
Apparently, you might still get them with the pre-order, but can't buy them separately online. So who knows? You might have to look into that after the show, since you do want your dugouts.
Yeah, but do I want to buy stuff that no one else plays, Andy? I don't know anyone that plays it. You know what I mean? So
Well, that's why you should just buy it on Steam to start with and see if you like the rules. Couldn't hurt, could it?
no, it couldn't hurt.
Well, except in the wallet sense. But it's cheaper than buying
No.
the tabletop game.
You know, one thing I'll say. Do you know like new GW products that are in boxes? They seem to have they seem to disappear after a couple of months. It's like you got to buy them while you can. I kind of like that, you know. They're putting out so much stuff that they just can't keep everything.
It's like
Am I right?
if Willy Wonka was going now and had his factory, it's the kind of thing he'd do. He'd have a chocolate bar, but would only make 1,000 of them, and that was it. He would never release that flavor ever again.
Yeah.
You see that with some other food products, don't you?
Yeah. Do you know? Do you like saurine loaves, malt loaves?
No.
They do a chocolate one every now and again, but then it disappears. Nice.
Anyway, off the topic of food and on to. So this is just a brief little thing that we'll look at here on the Warhammer community armies on parade. I think they're mostly 40k looking ones, but they are quite juicy, so we're just going to have a quick look. It's quite interesting. So, we've got a lot of planes here. Now, Mr. Remington, what do you think about this? Well, that didn't get any bigger, that made it smaller, in fact. So, a load of planes on a cliff. What do you think?
Armies on parade. Yeah.
Kind of cool.
I wouldn't have all painted them the same color like that though. Maybe I'd set one of them on fire, like it's just been shot down.
Yeah, so this actual page here is, I think, informing people about the upcoming armies on parade with some pictures of previous ones that did well. And obviously I'm a fan of this colour scheme. Nice orange rat action going on here. Very nice indeed. Then, down here, well, that's just Space Marines. Nobody cares about that. And then, that's a bit more interesting. Tyranids there. And some more Space Marines. And some Necrons by the looks of it there. That's very nice. That's a very nice setup. That looks like...
float in the air.
Yeah, that looks like something you'd see in the museum at Warhammer World. Very nice. So that's the end of that. Let's move on. What have we got next? Well, so we've got lots of halfling stuff to look at now.
Yay.
So the first thing I did, I scoured the Warhammer community, looking for halfling stuff that we could browse while we discuss why halflings should be coming back. And a lot of people in the chat saying that the video is fuzzy, but apparently it's not that way for everyone. And I'm not being told that there's any kind of issue with the connection.
No, it's not fuzzy for me.
Yeah, it must just be somebody's internet playing up a bit. Or maybe YouTube's a bit overloaded at the moment. With all the millions of people trying to tune into this show, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't think there's enough likes. You need to hit the like button. Maybe that will help.
I agree. So, Army Spotlight. Now, this is from last year. But Halflings of the Mortal Realms. This is somebody who had conjured up a halfling army for the Mortal Realms. I don't remember whether we actually looked at this at the time, but we're just going to have a look at some of the pictures pretty much while we discuss halfling. So, what is it that you love about halflings, Mr. Remington? What grabbed you originally?
I like them because they are the perennial underdog. There's a little bit of comedy about them. There's a little bit of desperation, but a lot of pride as well in the halflings. That they'd only fight if, you know, their very livelihood or breakfast was threatened, and that would send them into a sort of frenzy. Would they stack up though in Age of Sigmar? I don't know. I think they're too nice. I mean, I'd love them to, but can you really see these guys, you know, taking on any army and winning? I think that's the thing, really. I mean, I hope in Warhammer the Old World they bring them back, but I think within Games Workshop and within Warhammer Fantasy Battle, at least, they're always considered ancillary units. You know, they're always considered, well, they tag along with the Empire army, so they have some special units like, you know, Rangers or the Halfling Hot Pot.
I think that's unfortunate because ogres were in the same boat for a really long time, and then they got to splinter off into their own full faction, but the halflings never really did. I think that's just bad luck.
Yeah, but the thing is, the halfling isn't really an empire, whereas the ogres, you know, go around like destroying stuff and expanding their realm or moving their realm around at least. But halflings just have got their own patch of land, and they don't really expand. They don't really have any vision. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
but
don't
someone
have any.
just decided that. They could have written some fluff and a reason for the halflings to form a grand army. Maybe a great halfling explorer returns from a lost continent.
Maybe, but what would be the grand plan of the halflings? Do you know what I mean? Is it just fighting to survive, or do they want us, or do they just live in a new one of the realms and they've got their own little sort of city community?
Yes.
And they need something else. They need an X factor, right? Maybe magic, maybe some kind of like gnomes. They've got like illusionary magic. I don't know. They need that X factor that's going to make them a little bit more powerful than just like little fat guys.
Well, I'm not sure that halflings as they were back then would ever be an option in the current climate of Age of Sigmar. If we're talking the old world, then maybe. But for Age of Sigmar, every old race needs a new spin on it. They need to have big cow mountains on their shoulders. They need to be genetically mixed with a spider. They need to have something new and spicy about them that makes
Right.
them
So you're
clear and
saying,
distinct from what they were before.
yeah, it's a good point. You're saying that they need something, you know, like they need the gribbly factor, don't they? Maybe halflings mixed with bats or gremlins
Well, what I was
or some
thinking, looking at
orcs.
these has given me the idea for halfling chicken centaurs. It's got the back legs and wings of a chicken with a halfling torso coming out of the body and neck
So
area.
it's an amalgamation of halflings and their food. They've become one. You'd have like a carrot
Yes.
half.
So they wouldn't feast on chicken anymore. Safe to say.
But there's room, isn't there, for a faction that's like not dwarfish, but even smaller, but kind of sort of annoying, pesty, but good.
I think snotlings and nurglings got a bit too much love compared to halflings. What do you
I think
think?
halflings have got more character. I do. I mean, Nurglings have got loads of character, but I think these guys potentially could have loads. But it's because of the agriculture part of it. You know, they're seen as like little farmers, aren't they? Not really warriors. Oh, look at those halflings, though. They look amazing. Whose are they, Andy?
Well, I don't know who these belong to. Who
This
could it possibly
looks
be?
like a personal collection or the personal army of Remington Steel. Yes, I have a Hungry Horde, ladies and gentlemen. Feast your eyes on that.
Here's one for you. Here's a way that the halflings could return into the mortal realms. So you have a magical being who is very hungry. Let's say a slan or some supremely powerful ogre. What's the ogre spellcaster called?
Dagoth. Zote.
Some kind of ancient mystical being who's really peckish and just can't get a snack that hits the spot, and decides to summon up legions and hordes of halflings to scour the realms in search of the tastiest snacks to bring to him, because he knows that they have the most refined palates.
I love it. The Hungry Horde.
There you go.
Yes. Everything's around food. The other problem is it's just a boring thing, but it's an IP problem, and that is it's so they're so based on Tolkien's lore, and I like the fact that they're like that. But would Games Workshop have to just veer so away from that? It
That's why
just
you merge them with other things. You merge them with things that they previously ate, so they go in search of new and exciting snacks. So you merge them with chickens, you merge them with pigs.
But that really? Well, maybe it's worth a shot. Goats, halflings and goats, halflings and cows, halflings and bull. Oh, you have bull. You can't have bulls. But I don't know. I've got some old Marauder Citadel Marauder ogres that like in this army. I put one in each unit, and it sort of looks good, man. So these are some 1985 halflings. There, I've got a couple of Reaper halflings. I've got um, some of the what are they called? Those little gribblies at the front. Wizard apprentice sort of halfling things.
Familiars.
Yes, familiars. At the back, I've got the cockerel riding halflings. I've got the halfling chuck wagon at the back. I've got halfling sheep riders, and I've got halfling cavalry at the back there. They're out of focus. I've got halfling monks. I've got halfling chefs. I've got halfling town guard. Um,
Got a good look
yeah,
at the chefs there. Has one of them got a menu?
One of them's got a menu that is operating one of the siege weapons. Yeah, I've got the hot pot, and then I've got one with a mortar as well. So you know what, this army could be an empire army, no problem. Especially if they bring Warhammer the Old World back. But that's not the point. I think these guys deserve, um, a realm of their own, an army of their own. Those guys are the regiments of renown as well. Can you remember the name? There's one
Yes.
for you. What's their
Can the
name,
audience
Andy?
remember the name? It's like a mini. What the hell is that? What is the name of that guy right in the middle of the unit? And while you're guessing, or figuring out, or remembering, so looking at this, now this is a battle report I did. I never really took any amazing pictures of this halfling army while it was residing with me, and it's been taken back by its owner now. But there are lots of potential for still imagery in this battle report. So we've got
Halfling cannibal. Sorry, Andy. Wiki Gender says halfling cannibals.
halfling
Right.
cannibals. I
They're
don't
like
know about that.
they're good and slightly bad.
I don't think they'd be treating each other as the perfect snack to deliver.
So what are these? Are these your halflings?
These are the halflings that belong to Halfling Pete, who left them with me for several years and then sporadically appeared to make a battle report, then disappeared again. So let's have a look at some of them. Of course, there's the Rum Riders there with on there. And, you know, I can't say that without thinking, when it comes to your farm animals that halflings are so obsessed with, have you ever noticed that a goat sounds exactly like someone struggling to start a sheep? Have you? It's like if you imagine someone trying to start a sheep, it's like
Ah,
but they
yes,
can't quite get that sheep going, so it's a goat.
yes, that's well observed. Very well observed, Andy.
Okay, let's have a look at some of the units. Now you can see the special rules that halflings had in their custom. The rules that they had was partly in a Citadel journal, and there was also the Warhammer Armies halflings that someone created as well. But these are the housewives here next to the chefs.
I love the housewives.
Let's start this playing a bit. My video anyway. So
They go into a frenzy, don't they?
yeah.
Anyone dies.
Look at those wonderful chefs there
He's got
with the chuck wagon in the middle.
Now, is it true, Andy? Legend has it that Halfling Pete had the molds of some of those miniatures. That's why he was able to replicate so many.
That is not true at all. That would be a slanderous accusation. So there are the housewives. Top notch. A couple of different poses going on there. And don't need to spend an hour looking at those, but very nice chefs. And then as we skip along here, you can see some of the heroes obscured by these giant obnoxious pieces of paper. And you can tell I didn't paint these ones because they're all just one colour.
Yeah, did
And
he paint
actually,
all these did he paint all these in one evening, Andy?
he painted a lot of them very rapidly, but you can tell which ones I painted there, and I painted that monk right at the front there.
Yeah. Did you just have 3 colours?
Of course, it had to match the army, so I couldn't go too crazy with the amount of colours. And there's a bit of an M&M theme going on in this army as well.
I mean, these miniatures are really hard to get, now, and it seems an atrocity by the way in which they're painted, Andy. Is he selling these? What's he doing with these? What's going on
I
with
don't think he would ever sell them. There are his eagle riders.
Oh, they're wicked, man. You can't get those miniatures there. He's made them, hasn't he, from different bits and
I
bobs.
think those are from Wood Elves, and these are swan riders there.
Wicked.
So the swans are made, they're pretty much just toy swans. I don't think he even painted them and just stuck halfling archers on the back.
I mean, look, if GW redid these ideas, they'd be so good. Like goat riders, swan riders, ram riders, someone riding a little dragon. It'd be wicked. Come on, GW. Give a man a break here.
Let's keep looking what else we got. Oh, well, we don't want to go to the smelly old dwarves. So, there's some halfling archers, and interesting banner work there. But, let's see if I can get close up of any of the heroes. A lot of them will be embedded in the units, I'm sure.
Do you remember who won this battle?
Well, I'm pretty sure I did.
You...
Let's have a look at the dwarves while we're at it as well, because why not? Just a quick look. Organ gun. Let's have a quick scan through. Get to the action. Anvil of Doom. That top quality dwarven action there. Halflings advance.
Swarm them swans round that Anvil of Doom and take it out.
You can see that some of these stubborn ram riders have already been shot off, probably by an organ gun. into combat now. Look at all those units sandwiching the housewives there. It's not going to end well for them. And it's about to be some kind of advert there. So let's stop that and look at this picture instead. So, this is one of the reasons I think halflings need to come back. Because if you're not going to turn them into chicken centaurs, you can play up the fact that they are the hairiest footed race in the mortal realms. Is there any other race that has particularly hairy feet that you can think of?
Giants?
Giants, when you think of a giant, the first thing you think of is not hairy feet. Let's be honest.
Well, you got sons of Behemoth, or sons of Behemoth, as you say. What about grandsons or children of Behemoth? And they're like little halfling sort of cannibals.
Got some potential there.
Tuned to nature.
Maybe if you give them just one gigantic foot that's really hairy, because they've been influenced by Behemoth, but the rest of them is still tiny. You could call them the Stompers.
There's definitely room for like a race of halfling-esque things that could be like we say, primitive cannibals, or they could be, you know, maybe steampunkish, or like illusionists. You know, maybe there are some theories, Andy. Do you think an actual new AOS army is on the horizon, or may have been pushed back because of the pandemic?
Maybe, because you couldn't really call the new Gargants full army. It's just one kit.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
So I would say there's probably something in the works. But what? That's the question. We're going to be pouncing all over it as soon as it is revealed. But what else have we got here? So, it looks like you've been feverishly continuing painting your Necromanda.
Yeah, baby.
With more of your Escher. Up to 5
so
now.
I finished half the box. All these pictures I took literally like 2 minutes before the show started, so not doing myself much justice, and they do look better than the pictures in real life. So yeah, I think I've done a pretty decent job. What do you say, Andy?
I think they look very good, actually.
Oh.
You've done a pretty swell job.
Nice. They were tricky to paint at first, but I'm right. I've got the hang of them now.
Once you get into the groove, is there any stopping Remington with his paintbrush? And finally, this was submitted by a member of the audience. This is from MG on the Discord server. If you're not on there already, you should be, because it's a haven of non-stop wargaming succulence. And of course, this is big giant Troggoth squeezing toad. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I've got this miniature too. It's kind of cool. Very luminous, right?
The stick he's holding, the way it's painted, it kind of looks like fluorescent corn on the cob.
It does. I think if you turn the lights off, you'd still see the yellow. Maybe it's fluorescent paint.
It might be, actually. Maybe you could get some of these and paint them that style.
Molog.
Anyway, from squeezing the toad, we now move on to the 2 spiciest segments of the show, starting with... Let's just get this fired up, because it's time for... What the hell is that? Get ready for your screen to be filled with butts.
What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Is it a chaos dwarf or a vampire bear? Oh, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Oh, what the hell is that? What the hell is that? Only Andy and Remington, Andy and Remy, Andy and Remington know. What the hell is that? What the hell is Neferata's hat. What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Is it a mangled squig or a sorcerer's rat? Only Andy and Remington! Andy and Remington know.
Okay, everybody, what the hell is that?
Ooh. Oh, have we seen this image somewhere in the show already, Andy? Because something looks a little familiar.
It's entirely possible. Maybe I'm just giving people a chance to win for a change.
It's been too long since we've heard you sing, Andy. Remember when you used to sing the theme tunes? Oh, Brad Jimenez has got
Oh
it.
no,
on the
I'm not gonna allow that. It's spelt incorrectly.
Oh no, he's done a spell check there.
Okay,
It's
go on, then.
Lumpin Krupp's battle standard.
Yes, it is. Seamlessly transplanted. And the fact that we showed this very unit earlier on, I was going to say, if someone doesn't get this very quickly, then I'm going to be mightily disappointed. And I would suggest, in fact, that people don't even look at the screen during this show if they hadn't got that. So let's have a look at the solution. There you go. Bum, bum, bum. And now, one thing that caught my eye, contains 12 models including command, £25. Not a bad price, if you ask me, considering they were all metal. Any thoughts?
Yeah, lovely miniatures, really detailed as well. You know, big little lumps of metal. These. Yeah, I like this unit. Hard to get now without paying a lot of money for them.
That is true. So, you know what it's time for now?
No, Andy, what is it?
It's time for WitchCoven. Now, as far as I am aware, Mr. Remington is preparing a live rendition of a brand new theme song for WitchCoven, and if it all goes horribly wrong and the audio cuts out, as it's prone to, then we'll have the classic version of the song, which I've got lined up here. So, give it a try.
Okay, can you hear that? How's that sound?
I think you need short, sharp notes.
How's that?
That's okay, just keep them short and sharp, and it should
Right,
allow
what
you
if I
to sing.
and play?
Just don't do any long, drawn-out notes.
WitchCoven, everybody's talking about WitchCoven. How about that?
That was fine.
Let me just buy some time while I remember the chords. Here we go. WitchCoven, everybody's talking about WitchCoven. Andy the Younger is getting down and dirty in WitchCoven. They'll slash him, they'll bash him, they'll sacrifice him. Everybody's talking about WitchCoven. Oh, WitchCoven. Everybody's talking about WitchCoven. Andy the Younger is getting down. He's getting down and dirty in WitchCoven.
Okay, all that came through wonderfully. We've cracked it.
That's some tasty applause there, Andy.
Okay.
Yeah, you like that? You all like that, guys? Or do you prefer the slow one?
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. So, if you prefer the slow WitchCoven theme, hashtag slow. If you prefer the fast one, hashtag fast. In the chat right now. While that's going on, Mr. Remington, the floor is yours if you would like to commence the unwinding of the epic tale is WitchCoven.
WitchCoven, Part 4. Or is it Part 3? No,
It's Part 4.
Part 4. Let's have a quick recap. Andy the Encore banished from his tribe, falling in love with the chief's daughter, who is now in a delirious fit that can only be revived by Andy acquiring a goblet from the WitchCoven, a goblet containing a mysterious blood juices which will revive her and the fortunes of the tribe. And indeed, Andy's status within the tribe, for he's been banished. With the help of a friendly Cygor, Andy managed to escape his village and almost enter the Witch Coven, but he has been sliced in two. Or was he? For he's now in the cave of Morgwyn the Crone. She is a sort of a headmistress type witch who herself has been banished from her tribe. And as you lie in her cave, being brought back to life, she gave you a proposition, Andy. Would you go in the Witch Coven and perform a task for her? And in return, she will grant you entrance by disguising you from being a lowly Ungor into a Doomfire Warlock, allowing you to pass unnoticed. But there was one provisor. You know what that was, Andy?
Yes, but remind the audience.
You basically have to roll a d6 to see if her spell goes off, and she indeed turns you into the Doomfire Warlock, or whether she makes a mistake and turns you into something else.
Did I even? I thought I rolled the dice for this last time to see if her spell went off. Oh no, I saw puzzles last time. No. Okay,
Yes.
I've got the giant d6 here. Here we go. Oh, that was very loud. It's a 3.
A 3. A 3. Okay, so all seems to be well as haze floats through the caves. And you feel quite dizzy, Andy. Something's transforming. Your horns are being pressed into your head, and your fangs are being smoothed. Something's gone a little awry, for the crone has lost some of her magic, for she relied upon her witch's brew to give her health and youth. And so the magic spell has gone slightly awry, unfortunately, Andy, as she holds up an exquisite looking mirror in front of you. Maybe for the first time in your life, you see your reflection, and you're quite impressed. You look somewhat like a slave man.
Not a Doomfire Warlock.
Not yet a Doomfire warm-up, but you are pale looking and loincloth wearing, and you have a large ring through your nose. And you open your mouth, and you have no tongue. For the slaves of the Witch Coven are men who have had their tongues removed, though they may never talk ill of womankind. What do you say to that, Andy? Exactly. Anyway, well, let's see if we can just perform this task for Morgwyn the Crone, and perhaps she'll turn you back into an Ungor, or maybe something better. Perhaps she could turn you back into something like a Bestigor or a Gore. What do you think? You could return
That would be nice
back
if
to
I
your
could
tribe.
upgrade.
So she's telling you this basically. She's saying, or maybe if you perform a task for me, I can upgrade your status within the tribe, and you will win the hand of Uglorg, the Beast Maiden. Anyway, Andy, it doesn't seem like you have a choice in the matter, and she basically shoos you outside. And as she does so, you find yourself in a clearing outside the cave, and she's given you a small iron, dull looking ring which you wear upon your finger. And in times of need, you want you to turn the ring 3 times and say, Morgwyn, Morgwyn, aid me. And 3 times you will receive Morgwyn's help.
Well, I can't do that right now, can I?
Unfortunately not. I think there might be more dire circumstances in which that would be required. So basically, you've got 3 life-saving throws where Morgwyn can come and help you in disastrous, life-threatening situations. You find yourself outside the cave in a clearing, But maybe a mile away in the distance, you can hear a hustle and a bustling. For you see a thin, pointed looking city. It looks like spires jut out of the dark mountains in the distance. And there before you lies a city of dread. With dread spears are pointing, the shadows of dread spears are pointing over the city walls. Perhaps this is the place where you can find the WitchCoven. So, Andy, will you proceed? Doesn't seem like you have much choice.
Doesn't seem like I have much choice. Do I still have any weaponry, or am I just armed with this loincloth and my wits?
Loincloth and wits are all that's required to pass through as a slave in the city of dread. But you have Morgwyn's blessing. That's something.
It sure is.
You head towards the city, but just right outside the city gates, you hear a deep, not a deep, a high sounding cry. What the hell is that? And you see some pointed hatted dark elves looking down from the ramparts. They're pointing at you, Andy. Send out the city guard. I think this one's lost his pack. Before you know it, 12 spear and shield, red spear, dark elf warriors surround you and are poking you with a stick like you're some kind of alien thing.
Okay.
Where is the slave master? Bring him here. After a short wait, a grumpy, disheveled looking witch elf comes out who holds a scimitar and he has a hunched back and he has a huge set of iron keys on his belt. This looks like a slave owner.
Can I attempt
Bring
something
him over
here?
here. What?
Can I attempt something?
Attempt something?
Since I can't speak, then Andy the Ungor, who's currently magically disguised as an elven slave, would like to perform some kind of interpretive dance, which may involve a 360.
Do you want to show us?
No. I want to roll the dice and then you tell me how good the dance is.
Oh, God. Okay, well, it might save your life. Roll the dice, Andy.
Okay, here we go.
Now, everyone's been asking you to have to cry something upon your roll. A 1.
How can I cry something upon my roll when I can't even speak at the moment?
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes, but
When I gain my powers of speech again, then I'll have some kind of battle cry for a dice roll.
you roll a 1, but being unfamiliar with the limbs of a human and not having hooved feet, your interpretive dance, which would have been quite an impressive jig, is now something more of a disappointment, let's say.
Can I sway the audience here, because we've had a suggestion from the chat, and I can actually do an interpretive dance, but it's going to be an interpretive eyebrow dance. Hold on, just warm up these bad boys. Here we go.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. This slave is different to the rest. Perhaps we can get him a job in the Actors Guild. Perhaps he should be on stage. He has interesting facial movements. Guards, bring him to my quarters. You don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but you know that your life has been spared, and you have gained free entrance into the City of Dread. So well played, Andy. So you enter the chambers of the Dreadlord Slave Master. And he looks upon you and he decides to clothe you at least. And so he clothes you. You seem to have his blessing at this moment in time. But he's only just met you and he puts you in the same quarters this evening with the rest of the slaves who, shackled and loincloth, are sat there playing some kind of board game to pass away the hours. But as you know, no one can speak. So it seems to be unsaid nudges and grumps and growls, and some people are drawing things on the floor as ways to communicate. It's fair to say these slaves are threadbare and at the lowest of the low in society, and at the lowest of the low in spirits as well, because many of them will die. So you take your place with them, dressed in a fine dressing gown given by the Dreadlord, and all the fellow slaves look at you with some degree of jealousy. They urge you to join in with their dice game. I was going to say, what do you say? But you've really got no choice in the matter. So you sit with them and you're about to play the dice game. The rules of the dice game seem fairly simple, and although your tiny ungle brain wouldn't be able to decipher what the hell was going on, fortunately, Morgwyn's curse or spell even has given you the wits of a human. Anyway, it seems like the dice game has simple rules. You have to roll higher than the person who rolled before you. So let me roll, and let's see if you roll higher. And the loser has to lose something. And seeing as you've only got a loincloth and an overcoat, it looks like one of them two are going. Anyway, here we go. I will roll my dice. Remington! The 5.
It's going to be tricky. Give it a good shake. Here we go. It landed on the keyboard, but it's a 6.
Oh, yeah, as if. Oh, hi, Andy. So you've won this round, and you receive a portion of food, because that's all that your fellow slave can give you.
What kind of food is it?
It's like a naan bread with a sort of a dip.
Can I stash that in my stylish dressing gown?
Yeah, but now you're one up in this game. Why not have a round 2?
Sounds good to me.
Okay, let's play again. Here we go. Remington. I got a 4.
Okay. I'll do a kind of battle cry. The kind of battle cry someone could make if they can't speak. Oh. 6 again.
6 again, and he's on a roll. So this time, he receives a shoe. Just one shoe, but it looks like it could fit. Do you want to wear it, or do you want to stash that?
Yeah, go on, I'll wear the shoe. Why not?
Okay, it seems like there's only one more slave with anything to offer, so this is the final round. Do you want to play?
Yes.
Here we go then. This time, he nudges you as if you should go first.
Okay, here we go. I feel like you're not actually going to believe this.
Okay. Is it a 666?
You know what I'm going to do? I am going to obscure the camera momentarily and bring it down to show you. Let's have a look.
I'm just ruining my game with good dice rolls.
It's a 6 again.
It is a 6. That's phenomenal. What are the chances of rolling 3 6s in a row?
With this dice, probably quite high because it's really bad at rolling on such a small space.
Okay. Here we go. So, Remington is a 3. So, yet again, you win, Andy. But the problem is, this time, none of your fellow slaves believe that you have been playing this game fairly. And the leader among them sets himself upon you.
Oh no.
Prepare to
I'll
fight.
defend myself with the bread.
Will it be fight or flight for
It will
Andy the
be
Ungor?
fights, definitely. I've got bread and a shoe.
It will be fight. Well, your stats have somewhat changed since you're an Ungor. Some better, some worse. So you have to roll on your weapon skill, which was previously 2, and your weapon skill is now 3 as a human.
If this is
warrior.
6 again, I'm going to get a different dice.
You need a 3 or less
Here we go.
within your stats.
It's a 1.
It's a 1, so you score a hit and roll on your strength, which is 3. So you need
That
3
one's
or
a
less.
6.
That one's a stick. Okay, so you kind of slap a bit like a girl. It's sort of you hit the target, but you just sort of slap his face, and this just angers him even more. You're unable to actually wound or take out this bully in the crew, and he hits you back. Does he hit you for 6? Let's see. Remington. He hits you for a 3, and he wounds you on a 3 or below. Let's see what he does, and he wounds you as well. So basically, fortunately, Andy, he knocks you out. And the guards.
Remington, I hope no ladies heard your comment suggesting that they can't hit very hard.
You got bitch slapped. Come on. And you fell down and you are unconscious. But just before you lose consciousness, you see all the slaves taking away all your possessions. And in one final movement, you manage to clench your fist and hide Morgwyn's silver ring from them. But that really is the only thing of value.
Have I lost my
you managed
loincloth
to-
as well?
No, I'm not going to go that far. But we've lost time for this episode. But what will happen in episode 5 of WitchCoven? Will Andy find himself in the WitchCoven finally? Or will he be sent into the Dread Sea as a slave oarsman? Find out next week on WitchCoven.
I have got a little outro song prepared for WitchCoven, by the way.
Okay, well, or maybe the slow version could be the outro.
Well, I was thinking of just doing your fast version, but changing the words a little bit. In fact, I've even made a note of some lyrics here while you're doing your recap at the start. So, here we go. WitchCoven, WitchCoven, not as good as the Forest of Rem, WitchCoven. Remington is the puppet master. He bowed to pressure and made the theme song faster. WitchCoven, WitchCoven, Remington's masterpiece, WitchCoven.
Yay! I love them lyrics. You know what? It's a catchy tune, though, isn't it?
It's not bad.
It's really good. I might have to sing that again just to remember it. Now, do you know what? It's been in my head for like weeks, that version. So I don't think it's going to go away. Hopefully, you like it too. Shall we hear the slow one? There's a little outro.
I think we could
Why
use
not?
that as the outro for the entire show, actually,
Yeah, I like it.
since
I
people
like
have
it.
been demanding to hear it.
So, Andy, yes. Is there any more to share?
There isn't.
What's in store for us next week with Games Workshop Stonks? What more new
Indeed.
releases will we have? What will happen in WitchCoven? What the hell is that? Part like 100.
Also, I'm working on lining up some guests on the show as well. So, keep your eyes peeled for that. And don't forget, everybody, if you haven't liked the video, I would ask why not when you've heard such fantastic musical performances, as well as informative, educational, while also being spicy, red-hot, sizzling, mouth-watering, tender, moist, succulent, finger-licking good content. Why haven't you liked the video?
The comments, Andy, have been going crazy, man. Bestigals are best. Albri dance, people have been saying. Why do I suddenly want chocolate? Magical. Wow, that's good. Waves have been made by those dancing eyebrows. It's going to get shanked. One shoe. That's the beginning of a shoe shop. Satan is calling, and that is not role play. This is literally Andy's life. Andy got mugged, and Mickey Zenver says, "You don't want to be punched by me." Of course I don't.
Well, Remington has angered a significant portion of the population with that comment, so you
I
may
think
have
she
to
was
watch
talking
yourself
to you,
when you go out
Andy.
in public.
I think she was talking to you, but you started it by having a fight. You know, you could have just bowed down and given your possessions to the slaves.
Chance. Okay, so everybody, after liking the video, obviously check out all the links in the description, including all the social media goodness down there, the Facebook group, the Discord, Twitter, and all that madness. There is merch on the Redbubble store, including the WitchCoven logo, available now, along with the various other logos featured on this show. And not only that, but if you want to find out who is behind a lot of the magnificent artwork on this channel as of late, then in the description there is a link to Rad Bat Designs on Facebook, so you should go and click that as well. Probably like the page. And what else have we got? Obviously, certain patrons are more important than others due to pledging to the specified level to get a personalised thanks at the end of every episode. So before I do that, I'm going to bring up episode thumbnail so you can look at my Photoshop work. The second time we've been photoshopped into the hot pot, and I've wasted the opportunity to put someone's head inside the actual pot yet again. Maybe I'll do that next time we get to it. And special personalised thanks to the following patrons. All of you are extra spicy. So special spicy thanks to Graham, Tim, John, Eric, Brad, Barbara, and Guy. All of you extra tender and spicy. And with that, Remington, any final words for the evening?
No, I think I've definitely talked enough. I'm sorry if my enthusiasm for art and storytelling got the better of me.
That's fair enough. So we're going to have the slow WitchCoven theme and then the real outro. So you get a double musical delight to sing us out. Means before that is right out there. Whatever you
WitchCoven, WitchCoven, Andy the Younger in WitchCoven, narrated by Remington Steele, the famous DM in WitchCoven. That's it, a WitchCoven, WitchCoven, Andy the Younger in WitchCoven, a world that doesn't care. That Andy is a beastman who lays it all bare. WitchCoven, WitchCoven, Andy's gonna get in WitchCoven. He's gonna get it every week. A sacrifice to Cain. He's gonna get it every week. Andy the Younger in WitchCoven. It's the Andy and Remington Steele show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steele show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer